What up? It's your girl Samandy, and you are now connected with the Bridge podcast. This is a new era for the podcast, so I just want you guys to tune in and check out this latest episode with Too High, representing Hampton, Virginia.
I made the name up exactly 10 years ago. It's different meanings to it. The first one was I tried to find something that can identify with me. So the high means black in Chinese, so it's me saying I'm too black. And then the other one was I'm a big anime head. One of my favorite shows is Yu Hakusho. And one of my favorite characters' name is Hiei. That's why I got this tattoo right here. And so I try to make sure the name sounds similar to Hiei. And then finally, EOM, Elements of Music, is one of my favorite producers coming up. He passed away a couple years ago, and I used to rap on his beats a lot. And he had a beat on there called Too High, and it was really fire. So it means a lot of things. I met him back in like 2010. He was cool with one of my friends who raps by the name of Nick Khan, Bangladesh rapper. And they did a mixtape together, and he was the sole producer. And at the time when I was starting to produce, he used the Native Instruments machine, which I had just got. And me and him discussed it, and I was just telling him like how I wanted to be, as good as he was and stuff. And he was telling me, just keep pushing and everything. Fast forward a couple years, I've been getting better. And actually had a beat tape called Nagad, and it's basically just a bunch of instrumentals just dedicated to him. Like I wanted to show him. I even have a song called Joints for EOM, and I was supposed to go to this spot off of Selling Market in Norfolk, and he was there performing. And I wanted to go up there and showcase my beats to him finally and show how much I progressed. Something happened with my job, so I couldn't go. And then I tweeted him just saying, hey, I missed you, but I'm going to get you next time. He was like, yeah, for sure. And then like 2 weeks later, he ended up passing away. So, it really hurt me. I didn't get a chance to like show him how far I came. My mom's really big. She's from Hampton too, and she's like very prideful when it comes to Hampton. So I get that from her a lot. Like even to this day, we discuss things around the Peninsula area, Hampton, Newport News, and I always just had a fascination for it. As far as like the art, the culture, the food, everything like that, all the places around the blocks and stuff like that. So it always shaped me into making sure that I always represent where I'm from. A thing about us that a lot of people don't really know too much about, man, we got some good yak. Like it's like ghetto Chinese food, but it's really good. But you need someone who can like really make it homemade. You can't just get it from anywhere or go to his spots pretty much. But but outside of that, we're just here at Hampton Roads. We just have a sense of music, man, a culture that's just incredible that obviously started decades ago. And right now we're just trying to reinvent that wheel pretty much with the new generation that we have. So, and just trying to find different sounds, something similar to what NERD in search of. So that's all. Beat maker, producer, curator, because I'm real big on just creating sounds. I like to make playlists. I like to listen to different types of music. It's not just hip hop. I like to listen like jazz. I like to listen to R&B, freaking bluegrass, freaking rock music and stuff. Just stuff that just really supports my mental. So I love hearing different sounds. I even love listening to movie and video game soundtracks. It doesn't matter to me. I ain't gonna lie. When I produce it, I'm pretty playful. I'll have like a video game on or something on like an anime, and that kind of inspires me. I'm a visual person when I make beats. I like to watch a movie or something like that and kind of craft from there. I always have a vision of a scene as far as what I'm doing. As far as curating, whenever someone gives me a theme, I guess the same thing. Whenever someone gives me a theme, I think of a movie. Like somebody might come along and say, like, can you do something 80s post-disco? Then I'm like, okay, cool. And then I just kind of think of a scene or whatever, and then I just go from there pretty much. And I try to stay in that standard. So end of the day, it's all fun to me. It's all visual. So It was funny because that was like the hard part in the beginning. I was kind of just making music just to make music because of like my influences and stuff. Like I'm a big Tribe Called Quest fan. I know that's like my parents' era, but like I heard their music and I thought like this was incredible, and I saw the creativity that they had in these stuff, and it was more like they were just being themselves, and I had to incorporate that where it was like these are the things I'm already interested in, and so I just make sure when I'm producing I add a little element of it, whether it's like a soul sample, but then you add like a Metroid like bleep or something in there just to kind of make it playful or whatever, and that way it shows like another extension of who I am pretty much. That way when people listen to it and they actually meet me in person, it makes sense to them versus like you hear it and then you see me, you're like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So I always make sure to do the stuff that I already enjoy doing and just put that in the music that I'm already making versus creating something and then almost sounding like somebody else pretty much because I'm too busy trying to force it. So
Okay, so that ties me into a person that is heavy on not sounding like anybody else.
oh
He's one of your mentors.
yeah.
He goes by Bink Dog. If you guys are familiar, he's a legend, especially in hip hop in Virginia, especially. But I spoke to Bink prior to this interview, and he said that he chose you as someone to mentor because you sounded different sonically. So
That's crazy. He drops a lot of gems. I ain't gonna lie to you. The biggest one he told me, I know he said in interviews too, but he said to me in person was like when you're listening to a sample, like let it guide you. I know a lot of times people hear samples and they'll just like listen to the very beginning and then that's it. It could be like a 8-minute song, but he's the type of person he wants you to listen to the entire 8 minutes and then you could piece things together. It's kind of how he did like Santorini Greece with Rick Ross. He had to listen to that whole record to make that classic, and so he told me about that and to let it guide you as far as when you're adding other elements to it. Like if you're trying to add your certain drums to it, you're adding a bass line to it. I don't know if you want to add a kazoo later on, like whatever, but you have to fill that sample out in order to do that. Don't just kind of rush the process, which is true because it's art in the end of the day. One thing about me growing up was that I used to run track. That was my big thing was track, and I went to college for it. I went to George Mason University on a full scholarship. And one thing was, I was like, if I ever make it to the Olympics, like LaShawn Mayer or something like that, I was always going to come back and provide for my community. When that didn't go the way I wanted to go, and then I ended up doing music, and I started seeing what music could take me, then it was like I could still provide like service to the community. And one of the biggest things last year was trying to find something for other producers because I want to make sure the younger producers out there know like there's a place for them, a safe place where they can showcase their talents and stuff and don't feel like they're being secluded. I know a lot of times we do stuff for artists, singers, and rappers, stuff like that, but sometimes producers don't get as much love. So I asked a question about wanting to do something. Shout out to Ologist from the Thanks for Listening record shop. He reached out to me. He said, hey, if you want, you could definitely use my shop. Me and him got history. Matter of fact, the place where EON was at when he performed that in Selden Market, that's where I met Ologist. So we have history. And he said, yeah, come to the shop. We did it the first time in September. I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be one of them little one-off, like we do it one time and then that's pretty much it. But man, we had such a great reaction. A lot of people came, show love. And then I think the biggest one was when Mad Skillz hit me up and I reached out to him and he came to the next one. That kind of really took it off when he came out. And then Bink came out to that one too. And it's been big ever since, man. I've just been like super excited. And I can't wait for the one coming up on the 24th because we're celebrating 10 years of the 2i moniker. We're also celebrating Lab Rats because Lab Rats Beat Battle is where I got my start from. We did the first one and we got done that weekend. It was funny because the next day was my birthday afterwards. So after my birthday, and it was funny, I was going to visit my goddaughter in Virginia Beach. And then when I got done hanging out with her, I was heading back home and I was in the drive-thru at like I think it was McDonald's. Who cares? I was at a drive-thru and I just went through my phone because I had posted pictures from the event. I had just posted pictures like less than a day ago. And just going through, you see like the notifications, people like or whatever. And I saw this blue check mark, and I was like, huh? And I looked and said Mad Skillz. I was like, oh snap, it's Mad Skillz. And then something told me, oh, just posting your story and just tag him, just say thank you, and like, man, you should come out. Like, he's not gonna say anything, so I did that. And then he ended up reaching out to me. He was like, oh yeah, I'll come next time. Yeah, let me know. I was like, oh, for real? I was like, okay, cool. And then he said, yeah, we're locked in. Just let me know. And then he followed me back, and then I went crazy in the car. And then, like I said, I'm still in the drive-through, so the person's like, yeah, that'll be $9.95. And I'm like, and he probably looked at me like, are you okay? I was just like, I don't understand what's going on. And then I reached out to him again 2 months later, said, hey, we're doing the second one. He said, I'll be there. And then sure enough, while I was hosting, I looked in the corner, and he's over there just looking at records. And I'm like, oh man, we got Mad Skillz in the building. And everybody was like, oh snap. So that was crazy. It's funny because I got into producing a little late. I didn't start like in my teens or anything like that. But as far as just my influence and like my love for hip hop, that kind of guide towards the idea of producing eventually. I remember my dad had a tape, a CD. It was called a Slammin' Rap Hits or something like that, and it had like all these hits from like his time. It was like Ice-T, Colors, Run DMC, Walk This Way, De La Soul was up there and all that stuff. But the first track up there was a Tribe Called Quest, Can I Kick It? And that was my first time ever hearing something like that before, because it's like, my dad plays like Jay-Z, Biggie, like Wu-Tang and all that stuff. And so it's like more hardcore stuff, not a lot of alternative. But I heard that and it was just different. I was like, yo, what's this? And I asked him, he was like, Q-Tip. He was on Tribe Called Quest. I knew what Q-Tip was because at the time, Biber Thing was like the hottest song at the time. So this is like 99, 2000. And I was probably like about like 9 years old, 10 years old. But I just loved the sound of it. And I kept listening to it over and over again. So once he told me it was a Tribe Called Quest, I started doing my research. And to this day, that's my favorite group of all time. So eventually that led towards like, oh, I want to be like these guys. And then Jay Dilla came along and all that stuff. So for sure. I see a rise. I see a new renaissance is happening right now. Not that it's something that just came out of nowhere. It's just been building. I know when I was coming up, people were building, but it was always these tensions, and like sometimes people have beef with each other over things, and I get competition. Don't trust me. I ran track. Like I get competition, but like friendly competition. But it was usually like competition where it was like you're really trying to outdo the other person, and it was kind of like that's kind of crazy. Like just kind of figure it out because we're trying to build and be like these other cities that do that. Like when you look at like Atlanta, parts of LA, go down to Houston and stuff like that, Memphis, and how they are and how their community is and everything. And but now I'm starting to see that now. I think COVID probably helped a little bit. I think we just kind of like had a pause for a moment. Everybody kind of calmed down, got their chips straight and stuff like that. And then after that, we kind of started taking off. And I'm starting to see that now. It's still a little tensions and stuff here and there. As far as me playing my role, I always say I want to be like a pioneer. I always say I want to be great. I never want to settle for less. I always want to be as great as I can be. But me being great doesn't mean I'm trying to like be power hungry. I'm not doing this for clout. I can care less about clout. I'm literally just doing this because I love it. I love my city. I love my area. And I just want to put us on a map any way possible. The same way, our pioneers did it, decades ago, what Pharrell did, Timbaland did, Bink, Knots, Danger, Shoot Lex, and so many more. So I just want to play my role and be in that same tier as them one day. And I think we're going to get there. I just need everybody's help doing so. It's not something I can do by myself. So it's a group effort. Well, I got to be very biased and put my group up there, the Hooligans, which is a group of us. It's myself, Nico Aries, who's somebody who definitely helped me when I was coming up as far as like telling me how creative I can be. Crafty, who was like a beat battle legend. Alien Roswell, that's like my big brother, and I think he's one of the best to do it. Like he's amazing. I love just seeing or hanging out with him and watching him work. Like he's dope. Music Head, Geology, Chop God, Definitely Jay Clyde. He's dope too as well. S Class is someone I came up with as well. He's like my OG. We mentioned Lab Rats, Nate, Cousin Pete. So them guys like really helped me become who I am today. And then, but we got a lot of younger guys coming in the game. That been in my showcase. That's the reason why I do the showcases, so they can come out and do their thing. I know I got like CC, the homie Key, Teja Vu, Steven, Kane, SAA, and then I can't name everybody, but everybody's coming up, and they're all from here, and they're just looking for places to go, safe spaces, platforms, and that's my goal, is just to make sure they're taken care of. If I don't get to where I need to go, they're gonna get there. Luck, no, yeah, just networking. I know with Genius Party, some of them guys I've been following for a minute, and then sometimes it just takes groundwork. I always tell people, like, we can go online all day and post and tag and get engagement and stuff like that, but it's something about just pulling up on pull up on you. So that's all it was. I pulled up at Raleigh, and then they was just like, hey, we would love to have you for the Genius Party show. And then I was like, yeah, just let me know. And them guys are good, man. And they came out to the showcase in March, man. So they came out, they performed, which was dope. So people got a chance to see them. And then as a return, I went down there. And then shout out to Ja Freedom from Beat Freak. He reached out to me in January. He saw what the movement that I was doing as far as the showcase, and told me to come out to Charlotte, which we just came from not too long ago. And then and people still reaching out, so we still got other places to go, like New Jersey. Supposed to have a show out in Chicago, which is dope because my dad's from Chicago, so that'd be fire. And then other places as well. And then we got one coming up in Baltimore, like in like a month. So I think it's at Arcade, which is super dope because I'm a big arcade head. So, but yeah, definitely just trying to just get my feet wet, go out here, explore, get outside of VA. And that's why I always tell all my other producers, like, sometimes you got to just get outside VA a little bit. But always come home, though. Always come home. Obviously, the showcase coming up on the 24th. Definitely come out to that. Also, been collabing with GH Studios in Hampton on the Phoebus area with my homegirl Sade. We have an event coming up next month. It's going to be a combination of visual arts like painting, photography, things of that nature, along with music. And it's going to be real dope. It's going to be something different. So I want everybody to come out to that. And that's going to hopefully be something we could do monthly, where we get different artists, collaborators. We want to try to go beyond just beats and rapping bars. Like, we gotta let people know about like the artists we have out here, the painters we have out here, people who are into theater, people into dance, culinary arts, all the fine arts, because we got so much great history here. I mean, you got Ellis Fitzgerald from Newport News. Like, it's in our DNA, and I want to make sure we create that bridge. Create that bridge that all the arts come together, so that way we can officially define the culture here in the 757. Be careful who you take advice from. I understand, like, feedback is feedback, but one thing I had to learn is that there's a lot of people out here that give you feedback, but they do it to try to throw you off. They don't really mean to help, give you feedback to help you. They just give you feedback because they feel like they want to have some type of power over you. Because I noticed that a lot of people will tell me something, and then they'll go back and like, yeah, I told you how I do that. That's why he does that with his drums. I'm like, no, you didn't. So like, this stuff gets on my nerves, man. So just be careful who you take advice from. You should be able to feel in your spirit when someone actually means it, what they say and stuff like that. So, but I've been fortunate being around people, especially like a Bink, who, I know whatever they're telling me, like, they actually value, what I'm trying to do, and they're not trying to steer me wrong. So that's all I would tell them. Be creative. That competitive nature. When I ran track, I was very competitive, obviously, but at the end of the day, at the end of the race, whether I won or lost, I always, shook the other person's hand, good sportsman. But I always had a competitive nature. So when I had to end my career on that. Go into music, even though I make the music that I make, I'm still a little competitive at times. Like I hear certain things like, oh, okay, I see what you did there, and stuff like that. But also just have a passion and passion for it. With track, it's a long season. You talking about like practicing and training and going through the grueling like regimens and then recovery and stuff like that. It's a process and it takes a long time. And there's times when you lose the race, you start crying. You can't, you feel like a failure at times, but then like Aaliyah said, you got to just kind of dust yourself off and just try it again. And that's the thing about track. And then you just keep going till you're a champion eventually. So that's the same thing with music, man. It's gonna be times you're gonna be bawling out crying like, I don't understand what's going on and all that stuff, but everything comes together. So this is my parents' house. I wanted to shoot here because everything pretty much started here. This is where I heard this is where I started doing my research on like Tribe and got into like real 90s music, 80s music. Years later, this is where I made my first beat at. Everything. This is probably the last spot I saw my grandmother before she passed away. So this place just means a lot to me. Even though I don't live here no more. I still come here a lot just to be with my parents. It's just something about it spiritually that just kind of like feeds my soul. And I think that reflects my music. I want to make sure it feeds everybody's soul. And I think that's an important factor. Yeah, shout out to my two favorite people, my mom and my dad. Love y'all. Thank y'all for everything. Thank you for showing me everything. Thank you for being patient with me because I was a little knucklehead at times, but I always pulled through. Thank you guys for y'all sacrifices. Seriously. I also want to shout out my aunt too as well. She's been like my second mom. So shout out to my aunt T as well, and all my cousins too. Shout out to the city of Hampton. Hampton gets the money. Shout out to the hooligans. Shout out to all my people at GMU. Shout out to 1067 Bethel High School, of course, Brewing Pride, and all my friends and family. And then shout out to my mentor Bink too as well. This your boy Too High 757, and you are watching the Bridge podcast. The Bridge.